Hi folks, welcome back. Okay, so this one's gonna be a little bit different. I almost didn't do it because my kitchen is a mess, and again, you know what? Loving and living Maine, and get it's not always perfect. Hair is not always done just right, and the kitchen's not always clean. Don't always have all the ingredients. Things don't always go perfect. So I do try to just show you guys the real deal. And today, what I'm doing is kind of a combination. Don't hate me. Don't be haters. I'm going to do two things. First of all, I switched out my old sourdough because the jar is getting kind of icky. And you don't have to, but I prefer to. So I already put some sourdough in a bowl. I have my sourdough in my jar and I'm going to feed it. You guys have seen me do this before, anybody who's watching. And then I'm going to make a dessert with some of the sourdough. Now, here's the part where I don't want you to hate me. I don't use a recipe, folks, and you don't have to either. I've made so many desserts and so many breads and so many things that my hubby ended up loving as myself, just because there's a thought in your head and you decide, you know what, I want something chocolatey, I want something with berries, I need to use up those old bananas, I need to use some of the sourdough that's been just keep feeding it and it's not really making itself work for us because it's summertime. And I want to definitely use some of our own fresh chicken eggs. And then here's the part where, remember when I said I cheated? Get your guys' minds out of the gutter, folks. I am cheating because the Amish made this. This is a strawberry filling. I have some raspberry filling in there. This bag was $4.36. Yeah, I think they went up a little bit, but even $5, it's worth it to me because you know how much these berries were? Almost the same price. Because I live in Maine, and everything here in Maine that has to do with fresh fruits and vegetables that is not grown locally, like in any state or any country, is considerably more because it has to be shipped in, and it doesn't grow here. So this is already getting sticky. So I already added my flour and water to this sourdough. So I'm just going to clean this up real quick. And then I'll set it aside. Now, I'm just curious, have you subscribed to my channel yet? Because I have thousands of views, but I don't have very many subscribers. It would sure be nice to get monetized one of these days. And those that tell you that don't want to get monetized, I find that really hard to believe, don't you? Do you really believe that I don't know. I've heard, gosh, okay, we'll just say at least 10 people, but I think it was probably closer to 40, say, I don't care if I get monetized or not. I'm just doing this just for fun. I am doing this for fun. I do enjoy this. It is also something that I can handle. It's something that I can do considering some of the physical disabilities that I have. And if you have any physical disabilities, but you're able to walk and talk or stand or just do a few things, you can have a channel too. No promises, because I have 2 channels and I can't say anything's happened yet, but I also want to give credit where credit is due. I did it on my other channel. I believe I've done it on here. I try to. I know I have several times, and I do delete a lot of stuff because it never turns out just perfect, and it never will. Unlike the person that I got this idea from, and that person is Mr. Crazy Lake, Kevin Lake. He has a channel called Homesteading Today. He also is on Facebook and a whole bunch of other places that I know that he has like a channel on Facebook about laughs, about jokes. And I'm sorry, I have to get back to you. If you really want to know what that is, ask me in the comments what the channel is, and I will reply to you. I will find it, and I will reply it to you because he's funny. The guy's he's not only funny, and I'm not kissing arse here. He's incredibly intelligent. He comes off as crazy in some ways, but crazy like a fox. The man, you know, he knows what he's doing, and his wonderful wife and him are a fantastic team, and that's why he's able to be successful. He gives credit where credit is due also. Now, granted, he's the one writing the stories, and he's the one telling the jokes. He's the one on social media. He's the one doing the work. But without her support, it wouldn't have happened. It might not have happened. It hadn't happened yet. And so, you know, but that's his story to tell, and he has told it, and he will share it with you. But back to giving credit where credit's due. And folks, I do this all the time. I start talking and I start wandering. There's a joke called Squirrel, where, you know, a squirrel gets your attention and you get sidetracked. That happens to me all the time. Or it takes a long time for me to tell my stories. And that's just the way I am. It's just who I am. So, but he had so many videos that I had watched during a time when, you know, the physical disabilities I had and the mental. And the mental was just because of just life, you know, experience, you know, just things, your life gets you down. You know, everybody's going to have a hard time in their life. Things happen. You just have hard times, and it might get you down. And so I was spending way too much time in my chair. And between him reminding me, and not just me, he reminds thousands and thousands of people, we are solely responsible for our own choices. Unless you are kidnapped, you have a choice. Unless you're being held against your will, and if you are, oh my God, I hope you're able to get out of that situation. It's your choice. It's your choice to stay. It's your choice to do nothing. It's your choice to make the best life that you could possibly live. It's your choice. It's your choice. It's your choice. You are solely responsible. And his no BS attitude towards those things is what really helped me. I don't do well with fluff. I don't do well with people beating around the bush too often. That doesn't mean you need to be mean, rude, or cruel, or harsh. I just prefer tell me like it is, and that works for me. I've got these eggshells here. We keep them and crush them up, and I know a lot of people compost, but it's also really good to go back into our chicken feed. It helps our chickens. And it helps with compost too. So this one might just go to compost because I'm going to add the banana. So if you're not saving some of your natural ingredients for compost, consider starting, because it makes the best soil. Because we're still working on this homestead, and my husband, he did concrete his entire life. He's a concrete finisher. Now, his father and they had a garden, and it was primarily tomatoes and peppers, because they like to make their own hot sauce. There was some zucchini and stuff, not a lot. That's primarily what it was. So that's really his experience with gardening. And I know from experience, and part of what I do too, part of how I contribute, and maybe this is the only way you can contribute right now where you're at, is to watch how-to videos, YouTube videos, because that might help your significant other with what they're doing, what they're going through. And I don't care if it's anything from like emotional stuff to how to homestead, you know. And so the one thing I don't believe he's ever had is a compost pile. And so I'm trying to work with him on that. We're trying to work together on this, because we raise birds, we have chickens. What do chickens do? They make really great fertilizer. It's hot. When I say hot, that means if you have a chicken or you have bird waste, don't go putting that in your garden, planting a vegetable then in there or flowers or whatever, because they're going to burn. It's going to kill them. It's going to, or at least burn them significantly and stunt their growth. You need to, personally, I like waiting a season. So in the fall, I like to take everything that I have scraped out of the bird coops and cages and stuff. Or if you're on a farm with manure, you have horses, cows, whatever, you take that and you put it in your pile. You can add your other stuff, your kitchen eggshells, or, you know, like banana peels and coffee grounds and all that kind of stuff. Anything that, pardon me, if anything that's, you don't want to have any kind of plastics. You don't want to, you got to be careful what you put into the ground and into your compost, because that has to break down and it's going to go right back into your bodies. Okay? And the main thing is for it to break down. So you add some soil, you add some leaves when you rake your yard. We don't really have that problem here. But some people buy tumblers. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not necessary. You just start a pile and you go out there and you can add some straw. It doesn't matter what it is. That's the beauty of it, folks. You can put almost anything into your compost pile that's natural, and you just turn it over once in a while. Like once a week is even fine. Just, mix it up. It all breaks down. When it breaks down, that soil is, it's ideal for your gardens. So you don't have to spend your money on those expensive bags. And if you're going to have to buy a lot, it's better if you buy it by the truckload. There's some people that don't realize that you don't have to buy it by the bags. There's somebody around that will sell it by the truckloads. Okay, so I've added the banana to my sourdough. And again, I'm winging this. So and I'm not real good with measurements. Did I mention that also? So I'm going to do a little bit of baking powder. And before anybody says anything, my hands are clean. It doesn't go back into the can. And yes, I mix baking powder, soda, and salt all together in a lot of my recipes. And it turns out just fine. So see, it's not a lot. It's probably, I don't know, it's probably a quarter, maybe not even a quarter, maybe a 1/16 of a teaspoon. It's not a lot. I don't need a lot. What's going to happen, even if my dessert, which will be semi-breadish, cake-ish dessert, turns out dense, we're okay with that. All these recipes that we have nowadays, I don't care if it's a cookie, a cake, so much of it was by accident. These things were made by accidents. I mean, most people know. I'm using a pink Himalayan sea salt here. And that was actually quite a bit. That was more than I wanted to use, honestly. So hopefully that won't be too bad, because my butter that I'm using is salted also. You can't go wrong when you're making jams and jellies. And the reason you can't go wrong, I'm going to get some of that salt out right now while I still can. I'm going to take some of the salt out in case you didn't hear me. You're making a jam or a jelly. I asked once what's the difference between a jam and a jelly. And I was told jams have seeds. Now, I've been told differently since then, but what do I know? If one's too thin, it becomes syrup. If a crepe and a pancake, or if a pancake's too thin, it's a crepe. And then, of course, it depends on the country you're in as well, the name of something. But all these things that we eat began almost always by accident. So you really can't go wrong. And if you don't like it, okay, well, that happens. That's what animals are for, right? You don't even have to let it go away. So if you don't like it, you should really eat it anyway. I'm using 3 eggs because 2 of them were rather small. Our chickens are just beginning to lay. I have 2 Buff Orpingtons. No. Well, I have 3, but I have 2 Buff Orpingtons that are hens. The other's a rooster. And they've been laying for a little bit of while now. When I say that, I mean like more than a month. And because we had to restock our flock, we had to start all over again. And then there's another hen laying, and I believe it's a black star. Now, almost all my chickens are heritage breeds that are special. You know, they have, a lot of them have dual purposes, meaning they could be chicken or eggs, but all the ones that I have right now are for eggs. And the stars, they lay quicker, and I want eggs. You know what? And I don't care if it's not the most beautiful chicken ever, and it's not an ugly chicken. It's just not the most beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna pour some butter in here. So it says that I have 1.5 cups, but we're gonna start out with, mix this up a little bit because it's melted. All right, so if I had 1.5 cups and now I have 3/4 of a cup, you do the math. I might end up using it all, because that's going to be my only oil in here, so I probably will end up using more. And the one thing I didn't bring over here that I wanted to bring everything from the very get-go so I wouldn't have to walk around a whole lot is my sifter. And I like to use a sifter. I really do. And I like to sift my sugar as well. So where are you guys from? I know you get that and you think, oh, that's a quick trick question. She just wants me to put something in the comments so that she gets ratings. Yes, I want ratings, but also I want to know who's seeing these. Be right back. I didn't have to go far. Okay, I think I will do some of this. I use King's, what's it called? I always do this. I have it in there, King's. Actually, I don't, because I already put them in my containers. But I use the flour, it's King something. You guys probably know what it is if you know anything about flour. I will use just a generic all-purpose flour at times too. Depends what I'm doing. This one I'll probably mix it up a bit, a little bit of both. Yeah, I might save that for a rainy day. Make sure I have some more stocked in my shelves before I go using all of that, and I'll use the all-purpose. And a lot of times also I will use the all-purpose. Well, okay, let me take that back. I will begin my sourdough with a high-quality flour like King's, but then I will feed it a lot of times with just an all-purpose store brand. A lot of times they're the same thing. Like they get these contracts with the same company. So I don't know. Somebody else can explain how that works. Economics. I don't do economics too well. I do know that the guy I was telling you about, that the No BS guy that inspired me to start these YouTube channels, Kevin Lake, aka Crazy Lake, has a wife named Giggly Girl, and she has her own channel too. Giggly Girl at, if you go to his channel, you'll find it. Yeah, so and his channel is Homesteading Today, and you know, yeah, I already lost my train of thought. He's just inspired me to get off my arse and do things, you know, because my back was starting to hurt more so than, you know, I'm already like legally disabled. But, yeah, it was really beginning to hurt more. And I was concerned because I have an uncle that, it's really sad because the man was in shape. He was in the military. He was in, oh my God, family probably watching this. He was in the military for around 30 years. And, you know, it wasn't Vietnam or Desert Storm or even the fact that he has diabetes that he had during the time he was here. He had under control. And I'm assuming he still has it under control. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on with him now. I've reached out, but I don't get to hear from him as often as I'd like. Because he's not allowed his own phone, and he's not allowed to come to the phone, apparently, very often. I better be careful what I say. It just doesn't seem to happen when I call, and I just don't understand it. So there's always one reason or another. So, anyway, with that being said, he lost the use of his legs completely. And he lost the use of his legs out of pure laziness. And now, even if you heard this, he wouldn't be mad at me because the man was airborne. And when you, according to Mr. Crazy Lake, you're in the best shape that you could possibly be in when you're airborne. And my uncle would be the first to say that like, you know, he was one tough man. This man, oh my gosh, I mean, you don't want to be on his bad side. And so for him to just let himself go, and it happened so quickly. Here's the things, folks, it happened so quickly, within 10 days. So we were telling him, I did have a housekeeper, you know, helping with him. And she was, you know, kind of like a caregiver also, as far as just being supportive of him, but definitely cleaning up after him, because I wouldn't do it anymore. You know, we had a deal. I'm not your wife. I'm not, see, what was I said? I'm not your wife and I'm not your housekeeper. So if you're not going to clean up after yourself, you're going to pay for somebody who will. And that's what we did. And he was okay with that. But she would try to get him to walk. I would try to get him to walk. He would be so stubborn, like he would have a doctor's appointment or something. He wouldn't go. He wouldn't get in the truck. And I'd have to call and cancel, and it was embarrassing, you know, because it'd be last minute. And they could hear him in the background saying, I am 72 years old, and if I don't want to go, I'm not going to go. And if I'm, you know, I'm 72, and I've done this, and I've done that, and if I want to eat, I'm going to eat. You know, even though his diabetes was under control, which was a miracle because he ate whatever he wanted, but that was, you know, due to his medication too. So folks, it's what you put into it. And, you know, that was the one thing, but, you know, Crazy Lake, like, again, we're responsible for our own choices. He knew he needed to get off his bum. He said it many times. I'm going to go start jogging again. I'm going to do this. I'm going. Didn't happen. You have to get up and just do it. And I'm not trying to do any slogans here or anything like that. Okay, so I've got this batter made, and I know this has gone on for a long time. I do a lot of yickety yakety talkity stuff. I kind of want to add some brown sugar, but I don't think I need to because it smells so good. I'm going to taste a little touch of it. Kids, don't do this at home. There's raw eggs. My eggs are fine because they're right from my chickens and they're healthy, and we don't keep them long enough for anything to happen. Oh my gosh. Talk about cake batter. Oh my gosh. I can't even believe how good that turned out. I almost don't even want to add anything to it. It's almost like just banana bread, only I don't have cinnamon in it or anything like that, or any other you know. Oh, vanilla. Maybe I'll add some vanilla. I'll be right back, folks. I want to pause this. I've paused it before, but I've come back and I've lost the whole thing, and I'm 25 minutes into this, so I'll be right back. I had many different flavors. I almost considered adding banana because there's banana in it. But I'm just gonna stick with the vanilla. And if you know how for me to like pause this, and any tips on, especially I have no idea how to fix anything that I do on here. What you see is what you get, because I don't know what else to do. I really don't. So if you know how I can modify things, let me know, please. So I'm going to add a little bit of that vanilla. That was just a capful. It's feeling a little bit too thick. I'm going to add the rest of that butter. Or maybe, no, a little bit more of the butter, not all of it. Because I just think this is going to be so good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't want it too thick. I'm going to add some chocolate chips. I am going to spray this dish, but instead of spraying it with the olive oil, I think that I might just use the butter instead that's left over. Because I did have this olive oil spray. So I am gonna wipe around this dish real quick. That's your standard baking dish. What is it, 9 by 12 or something like that? I will. Just the Pyrex. I have the oven already preheating, and I have it at 385. 385 or 390. Everybody's area is different. Okay, we're gonna give this a really fast stir. Then I'm gonna pour in some chocolate chips and the blackberries. And then I'm gonna do a little swirl of the strawberry. I prefer the raspberry, but I use raspberry all the time. I haven't even tried the strawberry, honestly. And I'm talking about the filling that I got in the Amish. I bought strawberry and raspberry. They have everything, apple, cherry, they have it all. I only have a small hole in this, so it's not easy. And it comes out difficult. Alright. So I have another channel. It's not for everybody. This is my, like, wholesome channel. I don't know. This is just loving and living Maine and everything that goes on while we're in the state of Maine. There is so much that I could have posted before, the places that we've been and things that we've experienced. But we'll get there again, and I'll keep posting as we go. But it's really more of a, right now, a homesteading channel. It's, if I can do it, you can do it also. I'm from California originally, so is my husband. But we call it the real Northern California because it's where we lived is north of the bay, north of San Francisco Bay. So anything north of the bay is considered Northern California. You know, below that you have Central California, and then you have Southern California. And I've said it before, people think that California is a whole new ball game. It truly is. But so is Maine. Oh my gosh. It is a different lifestyle here. If you're not from here, and I forgot to, darn it, I forgot to add the blackberries. I'll add them now. If you're not from here, be prepared to learn a different way of life. And And there's nothing wrong with that. It's good. I wish I was a little younger. Soils are different. The type of seafood and wildlife, laws, everything is just different. So if you're from somewhere else, and the weather, don't forget the weather. For heaven's sakes, don't forget the weather. Is different. Now they'll tell you because of I don't know, global warming. I know not everybody believes in that. At this point, I don't care what you call it. The weather's changing. I honestly don't care about the title. I think it's fair to say that, we all know that it's getting warmer. And the locals here will say too, they'll talk about some of the big storms that they've had in the past. And they're bad. So, all right. Last but not least, my doggy is knocking on the door. Well, not knocking, right? Scratching at the door and barking. But I want to get this in there. And I'll stick it in the oven. And then when it's all completed, I'll do a short. And the short will show you what the completion is. So let me get this little swirled up in here. I don't know. Maybe I should have swirled it in the bowl. You guys can add to the comments about that too. But I think it looks pretty. Add a little bit more. Mainly for my hubby because he likes that sweetness. All right, so it looks messy. Oh, it's not the prettiest thing you've ever seen, but I think it's going to be pretty nice when it comes out. So here's what it looks like. I'm going to go stick it in the oven, and I'll do a short on what it looks like and how it tastes afterwards. All right, folks. Please subscribe and eat it. If you'd like to hear anything about this channel, do that too. And go over to Kevin's channel. Not that he needs it, because he doesn't. The man, he is a rock star. What can I say? But he's at homesteading today. If you like no nonsense, mixed with a little bit of football and sports, a little bit of military background stuff, but his whole thing is on stories. So that was it too. He tells stories about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, but he also has people write into him and he reads their stories. He also compiles books and he sells those. He's a writer. He's a phenomenal writer. I've read some of his stuff. Believe me, folks, this guy is great. He's worth going to see. And he gets nothing from me for, saying anything about him. He knows I exist because he's read a couple of my emails, but he's not gonna have time to come to my channel. So, I'm not asking, no, okay? So, but anyway, if you are the type that likes to just do something new, has nothing to do with homesteading today, it has to do with stories, and they are different. And that's what I'm doing as well. My other channel is called Dare Tell. I do not want any fiction at all. I love fiction, and more power to you if that's what you do. But I want to hear your true stories on the paranormal, the supernatural. If you had a guardian angel help you, if you have had an out-of-body experience, you've seen a UFO, a Bigfoot, he calls them Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and that's for a different reason, and you can go to his channel and find that out. Or any other kind of cryptid, like as such, go to my Dare Tell channel. And also on that channel, I will encourage you to email me. If you email me at CalGal, that's M-E, like the abbreviation for Maine, or me, Cal, C-A-L, because I'm from California, Gal, G-A-L, because that's how I identify. at gmail.com. Write me your story. I will share it on that channel. And if you have anything to say about this channel, you can still email me there, or you can add it to the comments here. All right, folks, thanks for hanging in here to the end. Talk to you later. Have a good one. Goodbye.